Welcome back to Mega Man X5. So, last time we actually did the cutscene for endgame stuff happening, which, as I said before, I usually save that for the actual endgame episode. I just think it paces better, but I figured I should just end it on that because we now don't have a time limit. So, I guess I will let that thing happen. And besides, it wouldn't make sense for us to go around the world and clean up if we thought we didn't need to. We kinda figured that rocket wouldn't go horribly wrong. But it did. Anyway though, yeah, so... now that we're on cleanup, I guess this is just gonna be the miscellaneous talk episode. But... gonna start with that, the whole good ending, bad ending situation. I've mentioned it a few times, but let's actually get into it. So, if you cannot complete the correct parts, the rocket parts, and the whole thing fails, then you get the bad ending route where Zero awakens and now we have to go fight him. So, the good ending, on the other hand, is, at least in this hack, as long as you can get all of the parts, you are guaranteed to get the good ending. Though I will also say, since it is set by, save file, I did want to do this, the cleanup as late as possible for the bad ending route, because, I want to not have to repeat a lot of things. If I remember correctly, I can only do 2 stages before I was actually guaranteed the good ending. If I did stage 3 in this half, I got the good ending. I was like, no, I can't have that. The other big thing from the bad ending is, of course, Eurasia does hit the planet, which causes a pretty big incident. It's not quite an extinction event. The Earth survives. It just isn't doing all that well. So that's kind of the big thing that I did not include. I basically just mixed and matched. So we have the good ending where we at least destroy Eurasia. We managed to stop the colony before it destroys anything significant. But in the process, Zero is still awakened anyway. That's the route I went with, because, I'm gonna be honest, I think it's just way more interesting to have Zero awaken in this case. I'll get more in-depth in that later, but I think it makes more sense and is actually, an interesting contribution to just the overall storyline of the X series. Of course, in the long run, I'll be going for the good ending, since that's overall more canon. Again, for the most part, I'm just going to explain out of the way with reasons, but also, the apocalypse not happening is pretty important. I did not want to include that. But yeah, I also don't think it's a huge spoiler to say that, Zero Awakening is never going to be this exact plot point ever again. We're not gonna get a situation, it's not a situation of, this is a thing that happens later in the X series, and we're just kinda doing it early now in a non-canonical way. No, we'll not have to worry about Zero Awakening, after Mega Man X5. And, yeah, because of this, I figured, we should include this. We should keep Zero Awakening here, because the game led up to it. We've had a lot of foreshadowing for it. So, it is a little bit weird to just suddenly say, okay, well, it's actually not a problem. A lot of people think they want, storylines to swerve on things they establish, if they establish it, pretty obviously, but... they built a thing up. I think it makes more sense to include it. Alright, and... here we go, got that part. So now let's exit the stage. So, I forget, is that all the parts? We'll check the, mission report here, see what we actually picked up. No damage, yes. Body parts F. Okay, we have not completed the Falcon armor just yet, though we did get a bunch of parts, dang. Very good. Oh wait, no, we did get Falcon armor. Ah, it fooled me by having the Falcon armor come last. Okay, so we got the full Falcon armor, so now I can finally show it off. So Falcon armor looks pretty cool, and yeah, for some reason Ollie is gonna tell us that we don't need to be here. Sometimes she does and sometimes she does not. Anyway, Falcon armor allows you to do this. Yeah, that's right, we can just skip ahead of things if we want to. God damn it, Ollie. So yeah, I very much enjoy Falcon armor. You can absolutely cheese things with it. You do have to work for it, though, and that's the thing about this game's armor sets is, it takes a lot of effort to get them, and it's honestly kind of annoying. Mostly because it means that you absolutely cannot get everything on your first pass, so either you have to waste some of the time limits in order to pick up stuff you missed in stages, or you're just going to have a very long cleanup, and guess what? I'm going to have a very long cleanup. So the nice thing is that now that we have the Falcon armor, we can get to work unlocking the rest of the armors. There are 2 sets in this game. The other armor, which I don't think we managed to get any of so far, is honestly less good than Falcon armor. I think that there is a very obvious decision as to which armor you might want to go with in the long run, and it is absolutely not the other one. Because I can do this with Falcon armor. It's very mobile, and quite frankly, that makes it fun. I'm also experimenting with the different busters that I got from the parts. Just FYI, so we'll be seeing some different busters. Of course, naturally, this does not have the plasma shot that we've been using with the 4th armor. So, it's a little different, even if we didn't, use the, extra chips. Alright, so we've got the Gaia armor. I do like the idea of giving X multiple armors in a game, but again, I don't like the fact that this... like, all of them are just so spread out that you cannot get everything first pass. The other nice thing, of course, is the fact that, in this hack you are allowed to use the individual parts of an incomplete armor, which you could not do normally. Alright, so there's our first Gaia armor parts. This is a more defensive armor than the Falcon armor, so we've got, 4th armor, which is, you know, just the, ultimate armor from a different game, kinda weakened. And then we have a mobility option, and then we have a defensive option. And if for some reason, you want to go with regular X, you can. It's just, you know, not usually a good idea. We'll need the option eventually, but for now, no, there's absolutely zero reason to use X. What else to talk about? I'm thinking... next thing I want to bring up is how this game kind of defies a thing that I oft criticized about the classic games, and that is the fact that those games oftentimes were made, you know, year to year, which I think is a bit of an issue. I feel like devs could probably use more time between games, just, you know, to maybe make them more special. Instead of just saying, hey, you got a Mega Man game every year. Some of the concepts, you know, wound up being kinda dry because of it. Or at least, so I assumed, anyway. I think just having more room to breathe between games would just be overall a better idea. However, X5 defies that. So, X4 was released August 1997. X5 was released November 2000. More than 3 years after X4, a game I do actually like, we got X5. Now, obviously that doesn't necessarily mean they were working on the game for the entirety of that time span. I mean, Mega Man's 8 and 9 had a much larger gap between the two of them, and I don't think they were working on Mega Man 9 like 3 blocks a day over those years. But it's still more time than a year, which is usually what I complain about. But also, I feel like X5 is just very clearly the worst game from X4. Even if you do like it, I feel like nobody would disagree that, like, X4 was just a real solid game. X5 is certainly not as bad as the games that we're, oh god, coming up to pretty soon. I still don't like it anywhere near as much as I like X4. I think it's a very clear step down, as I have criticized before. But that being said, yeah, 3 years isn't like the worst dev time. I mean, obviously it is an amount of time that is plenty for the studio to bleed devs, but to be fair, nowadays, considering the climate, a month is plenty of time for a studio to bleed devs, so, you know, people leaving or getting fired is kind of an inevitability, and even though these circumstances were, I hope, less dire, I feel like we would know if Capcom was that bad back in the day. If back in '98 they just started firing people non-stop for stupid reasons, I feel like we would have known about that, but, you know, I feel like 3 years is also... in a vacuum, I think 3 years is like a fine amount of time that would have actually been perfect. It's just, again, I don't actually like the end result, so I don't know. It could just be, again, devs bleeding, it happens. Even if it's not for absolutely shitty god-awful reasons, it still happens. Good reason or not, and sometimes people just leave, it's not even a firing thing. But, I don't know. It could just be a case of their heart wasn't in it, so it took 3 years to come out, but it still... I don't know, that feels unfair to say, just because I don't like it, but... I mean, we're still a game before Inafune really wanted to just not do the X series, or at the very least change the course of the X series, so like... There was still probably time, so yeah, it might have been a little unfair to say, oh, their heart wasn't in it. Alright, here we are again in this stage. Are we at the part where I'm gonna start skipping around? I don't know. I feel like I had something else I wanted to mention. Cleanup's not my favorite thing, but at least in most circumstances, the cleanup is my fault. It's just, you know, due to me going to stages in the order I want to, which isn't really based on the optimal way to play the game, and more just... I feel like these stages sort of link together, or if I look at the list of these Mavericks, who is the most important one to take care of? So... obviously, this game could have been optimized a little more, I could have done a bit more, but there are absolutely situations where you just cannot go through on a single pass-through, and there are even plenty of circumstances where you need the ability of a stage to get an item in that stage. It is the worst. Anyway, though, I guess we'll skip along to the next thing, right? Unless I think of anything else I want to mention, I think we can get to the part where, we don't need to see every little thing. Oh, wait. Actually, to be fair, okay, technically I do need to cover this because we didn't actually get to see this before. Yeah, there's an under lava section. You don't die as long as you're in the ride armor. Even though X's head is poking out, I guess there's a shield in there. This jump right here is a pain because, of course, if you mess it up, you're dead. And trust me, unless I was missing some, like, absolutely pinpoint accurate jump aim there, it is impossible to get over here without the Falcon armor. Trust me, I tried a few times to do that. It didn't work. I guess I should also tack on to the whole I don't like the way this game is structured thing. I guess to be fair, you could do stages out of order. You could do the stages on the right first, so you can get the things you need for the Falcon armor. But again, the game very much does not expect you to do it. It says, hey, go here first. And if you don't go to these places first, Ollie is just like, are you sure you want to go there? I don't know. Speaking of going to places, here we are again. Yeah, we're back here. Because, of course, there was a thing in this direction that, now that we have the Gaia armor, we're actually able to take care of. And by the way, you might have been thinking, when Dr. Light mentioned how you can't use special weapons, that maybe he just means you can't use your special weapons, like charge abilities from the other forms. No, he means you are straight up not allowed to use special weapons with Gaia armor. The Gaia shot is strong, sure, but... what the fuck? Why? What possessed them to just say, hey, fuck you, you can't use special weapons? You know, the point of the Mega Man games, more or less. Like, that's an important thing, is that you can use the boss weapons, but nope, not here. You have the Giga attack if you want it, but So yeah, like, Gaia armor is allowed to walk on spikes. I will say that is a very powerful ability, obviously, to be able to just platform off that stuff. So while technically... oh god, we're back here. Falcon armor is for mobility. Gaia armor is still, you know, mobile in its own way. It goes at the same pace X normally would, but over spikes, which is definitely a game changer. Anyway, if I remember correctly, I actually did point out the area we need to go to get the next ability. Yeah, that's great. Oh yeah, don't worry, I already know about this stuff. Oh my god, I don't need to know about the locks again. I already know what they are, and I already know to hate them. But yeah, do you remember how far in the stage the actual upgrade is? I might speed this one up so you can just see the distance I travel. In case you hadn't forgotten where that ability is. It's pretty much all the way in the back over here. God, man, I wasn't the biggest fan of X5 in the first place, but... boy, just the end of this game has been a constant source of frustration. Alright, so we're almost at the end, but we actually have a couple of things we need. First things first, Gaia armor, down here. There's a spike pit and a man I never rescued, not that it matters because he's just an item. There we go, we got a heart. So many things in the front half of the game require the Gaia armor from the back half, but a lot of the Gaia armor requires the Falcon armor, so fuck you. You are getting these things in order, whether you want to or not. We've also got trucks to deal with. This is another Gaia armor one. We're doing all the Gaia armor stuff first, though you might remember there is another thing in the Laser Castle stage that I have yet to get. That'll have to be done with a special weapon, though, which, hey, guess what? For reasons unbeknownst to me, Gaia Armor can't use special weapons. I don't know, I feel like Falcon Armor is plenty of broken in its own right. Why? Why is it then allowed to use special weapons, and Gaia Armor isn't? It's such a dumb decision. And not even the hack fixes it, so I'm guessing it must have been more trouble than it was worth. Like, other things get defensive options, why? Like, why are we just saying, no, you don't get to use Gaia Armor with special weapons? I don't feel like Gaia Armor breaks bosses that much, am I wrong? Was it actually stupid broken against bosses? I guess I really haven't tried, but that's because it's just... why would I? Alright, so, last upgrade. We're here with Falcon Armor, which I much prefer using. I mean, I do kinda miss the Plasma Shot from, 4th Armor, but... I mean, come on, 4th Armor just has the usual hover, it doesn't have this. Which is far more fun. Alright, so, what is the item we get here? It's a man! But it's also the, X item again. Alright, so we just burn those, and I don't even need to wait for you to bring me up. We're good. Alright, there we go. That's it, that's items collected. We're all done. Next time on Mega Man X5... You thought I was complaining about the cleanup? Oh, buddy. Just you wait. Next time, it's the finale stages. Shoot me now, don't wait till I get home.